Hi guys and welcome back to another video. This one's on Openshift routes. In the last one, I showed you how you can deploy an application on Openshift. Today I want to show you how are you going to access that application. Openshift provides a feature known as routes, which is essentially a DNS record that you can use to access your application. What will happen is that your customer is going to connect to the DNS record and that's going to forward him or her to the particular pod which is running the application. Routes connect directly to pods. They don't connect to services. If they would connect to services, the process would get even longer. We don't want that. We want it to be fast. For that, we have routes available that connect directly to underlying pods. So when I connect to example.com, I get redirected to my particular pod, which is running in my OpenShift cluster. OpenShift has a router which takes care of this. Essentially, what you do is you connect to your OpenShift cluster's IP address. Let's say that your cluster is running on 192.168.0.1. You connect with a particular URL, let's say example.ocp.apps.com. OpenShift router will check the URL and according to the URL, redirect you to a particular pod. So all the URLs are essentially connecting you to the same IP. But using cookies and other methods, you get redirected to a particular pod depending upon which URL you connected to. This URL that you are going to connect to can be an insecure URL which is using the HTTP protocol. In this one, the connection between you and the cluster is insecure as in HTTP, and the connection within the cluster to the pod is also insecure. So everything is in plain text. Then we have an edge route available which uses HTTPS outside. So the connection between you to the OpenShift cluster is secure, but the connection within the cluster to the pod is insecure. So here we are using HTTP. Then we have a pass-through route which is secure on the outside and using the same certificate is secure on the inside. And then we have a re-encrypt route where we have a different certificate on the outside and a different certificate on the inside. Re-encrypt routes are kind of difficult and I'm not going to cover them here. I'm going to cover the rest of them. Insecure route or a simple route, the edge route and the pass-through route. To do this, we will require an application. So we will deploy a simple Nginx application and see how we can connect to it and create a variety of routes. Routes depend upon your DNS records. So if you want to access a particular route, you should have a DNS secured. For example, if you're running your AWS cluster on Amazon, then you can use your Route 53 service to take care of this. What I'll do is I'm going to create a simple application. So I'm a part of the routing project OC get deployments. We don't have any application running. I'll do OC new app hyphen name web server and hyphen image. So I'm using the Nginx image here. You can also use a different image if you want to use a different one. That's fine. This is going to deploy a simple application with a service. However, this application is not going to be able to run because normal Nginx requires to bind to port number 80, which is not allowed by default by OpenShift. So I'll do a OC create service account, give this a name, we'll call it Nginx to make it easy. OC ADM policy, add SCC to user. Your credentials or permission sets any UID to run as any user that will allow me to bind to 80, and the service account that's Nginx. Then I'll do OC get deployments. Deployment name is web server, so I'll do OC set service account. Deployment is web server, account is Nginx. This will recreate the pod and the new pod is in a running state. As you can see, the old one gets terminated. The OC new app command also creates a service for me, which is already there as I can see. Now what I want to do is I want to create a route and which is a normal insecure route. For that, the simple OC expose command can be used. So I can do OC expose service hyphen help to take a look at available options. And I have some examples available here. So OC expose service name, and the host name. Host name depends upon your DNS record, right? So we are going to use OC get service, OC expose service web server hyphen host name. So I have configured my DNS to work with the name apollo.apps.ocp412.networknuts.lab. It's possible that you might have a different DNS record, and if you don't give a DNS record at all, then OpenShift will end up creating a random record, which might or might not work for you depending upon your DNS configuration. OC get service and OC get route. Now here is the important thing. A lot of people think that the route connects you to the service. That's wrong. It actually connects you to the pod. Let me show you. We'll run OC get pods -o wide, and here is the pod IP 10.128.0.61, and then we'll do OC get routes, OC describe route web server. And you can see that when you connect to the route, the endpoint is the pod IP. So this is the pod IP. So the route directly takes you to the pod, as I showed you in the diagram. It doesn't take you to the service. That's a very common misconception. Now what we'll do is we'll do OC get route, and here is the value. We'll copy this, run curl on this, and we get the welcome to Nginx output. However, this is using the HTTP protocol. It is insecure. Now you want to make it secure. For that, you will require a SSL TLS certificate. Now, I'm assuming that you already have one, and if you don't have one, then your CA authority can issue you one depending upon what hostname you want to use. I already have my certificates here, as you can see. So what I can do is I can do OC get routes, OC delete route web server. And now I want to create a new route, but this time I want to use the edge route, which is secure on the outside and insecure on the inside. So to do this, I'm going to run the command OC create route -help, and that's going to show me the option of edge route. Here it is. We'll run the command OC create route edge -help again, because we don't know how it works. What you can do is take a look at the example. So they're telling you to give the service name, but you will also require other information. For example, the certificate and the key, as well as the host name that you wish to use. Here it is, the host name. If you don't provide a certificate and key, then OpenShift is going to generate a self-signed certificate and use that. That might be okay with you, that might not be okay with you. In most situations, we want to use our own custom certificate issued by our CA authority and not the self-signed certificate that OpenShift gives you. So I already have my certificate here. This is the certificate file, and this is the key. So I can run the command OC create route, give the route a name. So I can call it app route edge. So that's the route name. Cert certificate is main.crt --key, that's app.key host name, that's apollo.apps.ocp412.networknuts.lab. I'm using the same host name from earlier. And --service, that's web server. And again, certificate I created, key I created, host name according to my DNS, service according to my service. OC get route, and your route gets created. It has edge termination, secure on the outside, insecure on the inside. We'll copy the URL, open up your browser, paste the URL. We're using HTTPS, and you get an error that the connection is not private, because this certificate you've created yourself. It's not a legit one. Click on advanced and proceed, and you get the output. If you click on the not secure icon, click on certificate is not valid, and check out the details. So issuer, as you can see, it is issued by me, by info@networknuts.in. That's our email address, right? The organization is networknuts, location is Delhi, state is Delhi, country is India, etc., etc. So it's a self-issued certificate which I'm using here. Let's go back and get rid of this. OC delete route app route edge. So we saw an insecure route, an edge route, and now I want to take a look at the pass-through route. In the pass-through route, the communication is secure on the outside as well as on the inside. So two pods that communicate also communicate over the secure channel. To do this, what you need to understand is your application should also support SSL. The normal Nginx application uses port number 80. So either I create a custom Nginx image that uses 443, or I might have an application with me already that's designed to use 443, and I also know where are the secrets going to be kept. For example, there is a certificate and the key. You need to provide that to your application. So you need to mount it into your pod. And I'm assuming that you know where to mount it. It might be a different location for Nginx. It might be a different location for a Java application, a different location for a Python application. So that you need to be aware of. What I have with me here is I have with me a YAML. Let me first get rid of the deployment, the OC delete deployment web server and OC delete service web server. And I have with me a YAML here. This is a simple application that's designed to work on the SSL certificate and the HTTPS protocol. So what we'll do is we'll mount the certificates to this path. I'm assuming that you know where to mount the certificates in your application. And we're creating a secret known as to-do-SSL that's going to contain the key and the certificate, and that secret is going to be mounted at this location, and it's read only, as you can see here. The container is designed to run on port number 8443, and the service is also using the same port, as you can see. So I'll simply run the command OC create secret, and now I want to create a secret first. There are a variety of secrets that you can create. So hyphen help, and TLS is the one that you are going to use. So OC create secret, TLS hyphen help again. And a simple example will show you that you need to provide the certificate and the key. So what we can do is we can run OC create secret. And what's going to be the secret name? That's going to be according to your YAML. So if you take a look at the YAML, it says it's going to be to-do-SSL. So that's what we are going to call it. OC create secret, TLS, to-do-SSL, hyphen certificate is main.crt, hyphen key is app.key. And now we are going to simply run OC apply hyphen f to do.yaml. It's going to use the secret and mount it to my pod. OC get deployments. The deployment is in progress. It will most likely fail due to the permission issue. So I'll assign it the service account as well. OC get SA. OC set SA. Deployment is to-do-app service account. I'll use the previous one. That's Nginx. OC get deployments. OC get pods. It's in a running state, so I'm good to go. The next step is going to be to create a route. So OC create route, pass through, and the service name, so that's to-do-app. OC get routes, and we see the route is created. However, OpenShift used a name of its own choice to configure the route. That's wrong. I need my own name. So OC delete route, to-do-app. And when creating it again, I'll use the hostname option to give the particular hostname to use. That's apollo.apps.ocp 412.networknuts.lab. OC get routes. And now I have the correct hostname according to my TLS certificate. And I can test it out via the curl command. That's one way to do it. Or you can also test it out via the browser. So for example, hitting a refresh on the same URL gives me the to-do application, as you can see here. Now in this to-do application, I can clearly see that I'm going to access the application via the HTTPS protocol. Certificate is self-signed, so it's saying not secure, but the protocol is anyway HTTPS. However, how will you check whether The pods are also using a secure communication or not. So if the internal communication is secure or not, how can I check that? So what I'll do is I'll do OC get deployments. OC scale deployment. Deployment name is to-do-app and replicas is going to be 2. Create 2 pods out of the same deployment. Now I can do OC describe pod and the pod name for any one of them. And it's going to show me that the certificates are mounted. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if I ask one pod to connect to the second pod over the secure channel, it should work. So I can do OC RSH, connect to the first pod, and ask the first pod to call the second pod's IP address. Instead of self-signed certificate, so we use -k to bypass that. And we get an error. Okay, why? Because we did not give the port number. OC get pods -o wide. We don't see the port number here. OC describe pod and the pod name. And this is running on port number 8443. When running the RSH command, I'll just write here 8443. And I get the output of my application in the HTML format, as you can see. But how does it prove the certificate is working? Firstly, HTTPS is being used. Second, if I write here -I and -V, then you can see the certificate is shown here, the issuer, the organization, the email address, and the domain name, which proves that the certificate is working. Now we have one more kind of route, that's re-encryption, but that's too advanced to cover here, perhaps at a later point in the future. If you have your cluster already created, try out routes. They are mind-blowing. And I'll see you in the next one.